Good evening. It is I, Ron Carr. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. I hope that you have enjoyed the meditation. We meant to bring you to a spot in which you could feel one with God in all ways. To know that as you are one with God in all ways, that your words can be God's words. Your actions can be God's actions. The things that you say and do have all the power of God, for within each and every one of you is the soul vibration of spirit, which is but a manifestation of God. And so as you have God within you, so it is that you are one with God in all ways. And you can never be separated from God except by your own intention and your own actions, your desire to be separated from God, to not give God his dominance over your own being. But if you wish, it is up to you. You can become the Word of God. You can act like the being of God. You can create as if you are God. For it is up to you with what you say and do to manifest your God's self. If you wish to be one with God, and if you wish to be your best possible self in all ways, so it is that that can be achieved by you very easily and very quickly. Just accept the fact that what you say is God's word. Be careful. Do not be slow to anger. Do not get angry. Listen with patience to things that might in the past have caused you anger or frustration. And recognize that these are the words of the person who is speaking or doing these things. They are not meant for you. They are just reflections of that other person's being. And that you do not have to be angry or impatient or frustrated, that you can be at peace. Just see how this person, in their agony and their frustration, will lash out, say things that which aren't nice, that other people don't want to hear, wish other people bad things. This is not what you wish to do because you are an aspect of God. And if you follow God's words, you say kind things to people, you send them love, you have patience, you do not anger, you are slow to anger, you do not anger because you have the patience and the understanding that what other people do is merely a reflection of themselves and has no impact on you if you do not allow it. And so this is what you must remember in order to be the God self that you truly are. To just know that your words must be a reflection of that God self, that they must be kind, they must be helpful, they must be thoughtful, they must be uplifting. Let your words go forth in this way, and they will be God's words. And if your actions are also helpful, if you help others, if you give them good advice, you do what you can to be kind, then you too will then know that your actions are truly God's actions. When you help one another, uplift one another, guide one another, it is truly your God self acting through you. So desire to be one with God. Acknowledge his presence within you. Let your words and your actions befit the God person that you are. So, are there any questions on what I've said tonight? Or are there any questions you would like to ask? I will take them now. Someone must be first.
Well, we're living in this physical world where we've been taught a lot of, I guess, negative things and negative ways to react to things. So we kind of, I guess, react to situations before we think. So how do we like change that, I guess? Or I mean, it's hard to, you just open your mouth and say whatever, pushes your button, I guess. So how do we stop that?
That is an interesting question. How do you stop it? It is, of course, taking a moment to think about what you are going to say. You have heard this recommended to you time and time again. When something happens around you, rather than reacting immediately, take a moment, just a moment. Take a deep breath. Let it out. And you may find that you are calmer and more peaceful. And then you will train yourself to think, well, this person is behaving oddly. They are saying strange things that are not helpful to themselves or to me. I do not have to pay them any attention. And that kind of a thought in your mind, pre-prepared dialogue that you will use when people do things to offend you. Do they have any need to make things right in your life? Or can they say whatever they like? Can you say whatever you like? Of course you can, and of course they can. So therefore they have the right to be stupid. They have the right to act badly. You have the right to be stupid, and you have the right to act badly. But if you want to have a good life, you want to have great relationships, why then you want to be as God would be. And so you give them the space for them to be stupid, and you are smart. You allow yourself to wish them well and to pity them that they act in this way. You see, you can choose to be a person who is centered on God. It is as simple as that. And actually, if you begin to make affirmations in every day that you are one with God in all ways, and your words are God's words, and your actions are God's actions, just say those things every day, several times a day. You will find yourself hesitating when people do stupid things or say stupid things or irritating things or frustrating things or situations make you angry. But if your words are God's words, well, you don't want to say something nasty. You want to be like the God presence you are. And you won't take actions against this person. You will let it go because your actions are God's actions, and God has tolerance and understanding. I know that you have been taught that He is a vengeful God, but that was man personifying God about in the same way that man acts and reacts. They assume that God must be similar. If man is made in God's image and man does this, why then God must do this. No, that is not the way it is. You are made in God's image because you can create.
So basically, we turned it around and created a God in our image.
We have created a God. Say that again, please.
Okay. So we turned everything around and we have created a God in our image.
Yes, we have. You have.
Yeah.
Once you get to my side of things, you understand what it truly is. And actually, the meditation tonight, moving into God's presence and knowing that you are one with God, is the most important thing you can do for yourself. And to affirm that your words are always God's words, and your actions are always God's actions. And the awesome responsibility of those statements will eventually begin to affect how you react to things and how you act at times in things as you have need and necessity to act. That your actions will actually begin to change if you accept that you are one with God, and therefore your actions are God's actions, and your words are God's words. And know that your word carries the full power of your God presence. Therefore, if you say to others to tell them something good for themselves, such as be at peace, don't get so frustrated, be happy, let it go. These things are the advice of God. The reactions are not the words of God, but they still carry power. And so if you remind yourself that what you are saying has power and impact on this world, and good things bring about a better world, nasty things bring about a nasty world. Nasty actions make our world harder, make your world harder. So that is what you must take responsibility for. And perhaps if you think on this and you will decide not to make the world a harder place, a less friendly place, but to make it a better place by truly speaking God's words and truly acting as God would react, with love, forgiveness, help, and guidance. Are there other questions?
When you did the meditation, I have a question about that. Because you took us to a church to find God, but why did we have to go into a church?
Because many people seek God in a church.
Oh, okay. It kind of seemed like too, I don't know what word to use. I kind of didn't like churches because of all the stuff they tell you and they try to control you and stuff. And I figured, why are we going into church to find God?
Then for you, I will tell you to look inside yourself. And we can do that meditation next time that you are on.
Okay, sounds good.
Where you find when you find the light of God within you, and it grows and it grows and it grows, so that you feel that you are one with God, which is an excellent meditation for you to do. But many people seek God in the church. So that is why it was chosen for this meditation.
Okay.
Are there other questions?
I have a question. It's based on my experience, but I think it applies to a lot of people. Most of the times when I do a meditation, when I follow a guided meditation, I should say, or any kind of activation or spiritual work where we go into a meditative state, I seem to zone out almost immediately, but I come back either at the very end when it's being finished or shortly thereafter. But I don't remember anything, so I've always assumed that I would fall asleep. But now I'm thinking that maybe I'm not falling asleep, I'm going somewhere. Can you speak to that a little bit, please? Am I actually falling asleep or am I actually going somewhere?
Well, there are people who do manage to fall asleep when they start meditating because they get themselves so relaxed. It is hard to keep their minds and thought on whatever it is they are choosing to meditate about, and they do fall asleep. But many times you go within yourself when you are meditating. You go to a quiet spot that is not necessarily a place that you would think of. It is actually just a state of mind, which is, I believe they have measured brain waves of people who are in meditation, and I am not certain whether these they are alpha brain waves, beta brain waves, or what they are, but they have noticed they are a change in your normal brain waves that comes with meditation. And when people come out of meditation, often there is a difference in themselves. Now, you do not remember what you experienced when you are meditating. At least many people do not. And that is a perfectly good reaction to have. While some people, if they have questions, receive answers. And so the brain is opening up. That is all that I can say. You are entering into a different state. There is not necessarily thought within the state, and there is quiet, so that is why it seems like you are falling asleep. But many times you come out of a meditation with information or realizations that come to you while you are meditating, and awareness, and you feel good and you feel revitalized from that meditation. So I would not worry too much on where you go or what happens. That is incidental to the fact that you are meditating. The purpose of meditation, or the discipline of meditation, is having that thought, keeping the thought, whatever it is that you are doing during that meditation. And although you may not remember keeping that thought, that time is timeless in meditation, and that way it is also similar to sleep. You're not always aware of time passing, but time has passed. It is because you have simply entered into a different state of consciousness, one in which you are totally relaxed. In some ways, it is not too different from hypnosis, which also puts you into a similar state of relaxation and allows your brain waves to change. So there is no really going anywhere. It is all within your head, between your ears. That what is going on. It is simply a change in your consciousness, and your mind is now open in a different way and receiving and reacting differently. So I do not know that that would be helpful to you at all, but it is the best explanation, the only explanation I can give to you. Perhaps another might be able to explain it better, but it is essentially you have gone into an altered state. It is not quite the same as falling asleep, but I can understand why you think that you have fallen asleep.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Haven't you occasionally received answers while in the meditative state?
Like I said, most of the times I feel like I fall asleep, but you're right. I wake up feeling differently, and somehow things just flow much easier the following day, or usually this happens at night. So whatever I'm dealing with just flows much easier. So I must be picking up some guidance to help me deal with whatever it is that I happen to be dealing with whenever I'm entering these meditative states. So
Absolutely.
yes, it just, yeah. Wow, that's very profound. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Are there other questions that people have?
Could that state be the same state that you would go into, like when you're, I guess, meditating, and trying to ask somebody something or get an answer from spirit or something? Or is that different?
Well, if you are going into, I believe you are asking me if you are seeking to get guidance from spirit or to give a psychic reading, is it the same state? Is that your question?
Yes.
So it is not quite a meditative state because the psychic is using the senses of their spirit. You see, for every sense, such as your eyes and your ears, your hearing, your sense of touch, and your sense of smell, even, that these senses have a duplicate in your etheric double, which is part of your soul and part of your soul body and your energetic body. So there are senses on that etheric double, which also act, but they are not picking up the same things as your senses in your physical body, which are confined to picking up, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling. They are picking up the things that are on the physical plane. The other, when you are seeking information and guidance, you are now working on a different plane of existence. You are working within the mental plane, or you may call it the spiritual plane, if you will, even. But it is using senses in your soul and in your spirit, your energetic body, to hear and think and taste and smell and to pick up thoughts and energies that are out there. So it is a far more active state than meditation, which tends to be very passive. Now, you can get information while meditating along the line of guidance for yourself or answers to questions. You may not come to you immediately while you are meditating. You may not even be aware that you get these answers, but you may suddenly realize that you have found a solution that somewhere along the line, while you were doing the rest of your life, not even meditating at the moment, all of a sudden the answer will come to you, and you will then know what you need to know, and that you desire to learn. And so these things will come to you in meditation. But it is a little bit different because you have simply opened up your mind and allowed it to function in this other way that has allowed you to increase your communication and be open to the knowledge that is coming to you. When you deliberately seek to engage it, like in giving a psychic reading, though, you are being more active than you are when you are in the meditative state. In the meditative state, you are aligning more with your spiritual self in the sense of, it is hard to explain, aligning with your spiritual self to get the answers that come to you from your higher consciousness. I don't think I have answered your question well, but I hope.
Not too bad. I was thinking, I kind of get it that these questions are being answered technically by my own brain, except I didn't know they were in there yet, but they were hiding in there. And I guess I got the answers because I went into that meditative state and relaxed everything.
Yes, partially that happens, but also information, yes, that you have had in your subconscious mind can come to the surface, so that it's knowledge that you knew somewhere already and it has come to surface, as well as You know, the fabulous ways in which we sometimes work as spirits is that we influence someone else to give you the answer that you are seeking.
Oh,
Because
very
we
good.
cannot
Interesting. Okay.
we cannot always do the direct communication. You always do not listen. And so therefore, it is sometimes easier to influence someone else who just happens to somehow in your conversations, if you start talking about what it is you need to know, has exactly the answer you are looking for.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other
Hi there.
questions?
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I didn't know you were doing Monday. So it's funny because this topic is driving me up the wall. I have an opportunity to get a promotion at work, and this is full-time in the appliance department that I left to get a full-time position. I'm going to another department. So I did the tarot, yes or no tarot online. And I also did like a tongue check, what I call a tongue check. Someone taught me this a long time ago. So if the roof of my mouth, if it's yes, my tongue goes to the right. If it's no, it just goes up and down on the roof of my mouth. So they were kind of conflicting. And sometimes I would get yes tarot. The next day I'm doing no. And the question was, am I going to get this position? Now, I will admit that I've been torn to even go for the position because now, not that I directly have to answer the numbers, but it's drawing a lot of the residual effects, I guess, of having to chase numbers at full commission. This is not full commission. I make hourly. I would get an increase in pay per hour, and then I get a bonus, and there's different tier levels. Can you explain why I'm getting all these conflicting things? And if you have any insights as to at least the vibratory rate right now on the potential of getting this position. Thank you.
Well, you are obviously conflicted, and that is why you are getting conflicting answers. Because in one parts of yourself, this might be a highly desirable position to be in, but you are still uncertain of the remuneration that is coming to you because you have never done this sort of a job before. You have always worked with the commission, and you knew that the commission, to a certain extent, was a result of your own efforts directly. Now, in a position of authority in a department where others are also involved in your essentially getting a commission because it is up to them to sell the product. So they get the commission. And if enough product is sold, you get a bonus. So in a sense, this is a commission job, but you just are not in control. And so your question for yourself is, do you want to have direct control and do what you have been doing? And if you are happy in it and happy with your salary, then perhaps you wish to stay there. And in the new position, are you willing to do whatever it is that you need to do to encourage your salespeople to learn about product, to make sure they understand the features, to have them watch the customers and respond to customers' needs in the most efficient way possible so that they can handle more customers and make more money themselves? So what you are looking at in this new promotion that you are considering applying for or have already applied for, but not sure whether you want, is that that uncertainty that it will bring you more rewards. Maybe you will just be frustrated by having to work through other people. It depends upon your relationship with other people. But if you think about it, as a salesperson, you were helping your customers to make a good decision. And as a manager, you help your employees to be better salespeople. So you are also in a helping position. It depends upon what you want. And I do not wish to give you, as you requested, a weight, I believe is the way you phrased it, to whether your chances of getting the position are better or not better. And I do not understand for applying for the new position does not make you necessarily have to give up the old position until you have secured the new position. So applying for the new position is a safe maneuver for you as far as I can see it. And your chances of getting it are probably excellent because you have chosen or you have shown yourself to be an efficient worker who achieves the goals and does what they need to do. And you are smart enough to figure out the best approaches to get done what you need to get done, to earn your bonuses, as well as be happy with your increased pay and the possibilities that are out there for you. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah, no, you're always helpful because you said something very insightful that I just want to clarify. It's not a managerial role. It is still within the department. A specialist is simply one that is at a higher level than a standard associate for whatever, that's just the way the tier level goes. An associate doesn't have to hit tier levels. They simply make a regular hourly wage. I'm able to run all over the whole store because I have added responsibilities just myself that I was assigned. This would force me back into the department primarily throughout the day because being with other associates on the sales floor, I have to be there or they'll get the customer and I won't. So you kind of get territorial. But you said something very insightful, and that was making them successful, no matter what level I am. If I go in with that attitude, look, we're all in this together. I'm here to help you as much as you're here to help me, and whatnot. And I have a good sense of product line and whatnot, and they know I do. My coworkers don't question. I often sell for them. I go in the department when they're overwhelmed or there's no one there, and then I just toss them the sale and walk out because they have to hit tier levels. So I didn't. So I felt like, well, they could do the follow through, and there's a problem or a question, it's their department. I don't want to take money away from them. And so I've given them thousands upon thousands of dollars of sales, every one of them. So I think that's a great approach, to be more collaborative than adversarial or competitive. And that's the thing that I got to remember, because I'm so used to going in with commission. If I lose a sale because I wasn't in the room or I didn't move fast enough to the customer, I have to just keep saying in my head, Robin, it makes no difference. You're getting an hourly wage, and I'm sure you'll hit at least the bottom tier level. And I really don't care about what tier level I hit. Just by making $2, $3 more per hour is a big help to me. And I also forgot that Raymond's Parent Plus loans will be coming due. He hopes to graduate. Yes, that's a shocker. At the end of December. And I like your insights on that as well. I don't want to take up the whole time from other people, but he's been having some issues with the school, over handwriting. They wanted him to handwrite for statistics class. Like he said, Mom, it's not It's not calligraphy, it's statistics. He finally got the school to bend to him, but he still has another class to take. And it's not actually, I keep saying a class, it's a CLEP examination at the end of the semester. He has 3 of these examinations. Do you see Raymond being able to complete all coursework to satisfy graduating at the end? And I only ask because you, of all people, know, or beings, I should say, I'm sorry, how long he's been at this. It's been now 7.5 years that it's taken him to get a degree. I'd really like to have some positive news to hang my hat on, and thank you.
Well, excuse me. It is important for you to tell him that it is all up to him. He has the ability. He has the smarts. He knows what he needs to do. It's just he sometimes wants to figure out easier ways of different or better ways or different ways of solving the problems that have already been solved. So he wants to be somewhat creative. And this is his downfall often, because he doesn't follow instructions. He thinks he wants to be independent and intelligent. And so he doesn't always stick with what the professor wants. And give him the advice of just do what you need to do to get through school so it is finished. And that will be the most help for himself. Now, back to your first thing, it was somewhat deliberate on my part to mention that you would be helping your other salespeople make their commissions or hit their goals. And of course, that would reflect on yourself and bring goodness to you. It will do one more thing for you. It gives you direct satisfaction that you are helping people at all times, which will make you eventually, as you say, you have to adjust to this situation. It will make you happier with your job in the long run. You will feel more appreciated because you will be appreciated by those that you help to become better salespeople and bring about more success in your department. For I assume that is the job that you are speaking about. At any rate, with your son, just tell him to stick with what the professor wants to hear. And that he will get through and get done with it. And even if he does not feel that it's an appropriate thing for the professor to want something, it's just easier to comply. So he gets it done. And if you can give him that piece of advice and he can accept it, then he will be more, he will get through all right. But you see, even the fighting for the handwriting, it may not be calligraphy class, but for some reason they wanted him to handwrite his assignments. I have no idea on how computers work or how things come out of the printer, but it may not have been what the professor was looking for. And handwriting it may have given the professor some information that coming out in a sterile way. Perhaps the professor is just afraid that your son was finding the answers in some other publication or place, and so was essentially just finding the answers there and not really doing the work himself. And
No,
that
I wish it
is the problem.
I wish it were the case. He has what's called dysgraphia. It's a handwriting weakness or tone weakness. It's common among those, what he has. And so his handwriting is so bad, so sloppy, that he himself can't even understand his own handwriting, and professors couldn't make out his handwriting. He's always had accommodations that he can type out everything. And when he started at the school, they made it very clear, well, everyone has a computer in class. But then the math department said that math has to be handwritten. Now, he's taken all the math classes at his community college. When he came over to his four-year school, all of that was done, except for one class that they argued wasn't a high enough level that they felt, he didn't meet it, even though he already had the class. Both of these classes he's already had. He's had them, again, at the community college. But they're saying, oh, that was a 200 level class, and we're teaching the 300 level class. Meantime, it's the same material. But regardless, he's always had accommodations. So it's not that he doesn't want to handwrite. He said, and he gets extra time, but to have that extra time to be able to write neatly and legibly for the professor is virtually impossible for him. And that's due to a long time ago in school, he didn't get the supports that he was supposed to have gotten. And we didn't know this at the time. We were told he was getting it. And Raymond didn't articulate to us at the time that he wasn't getting handwriting OT, which he was supposed to get, occupational therapy. Thank you.
So this has nothing to do with your son. It was a mere suggestion that he comply with the wishes when the professor had seen his handwriting and found it was illegible, and let him ask again. But this is a problem that has already been solved, so it is not necessary for us to speak of it. At any rate, I wish you well. I see that I have a hand showing on the screen. I don't know if that person would like to ask a question.
Yes, Rancor, thank you so very much. This is Samaj, and I wanted to find out, how does one go about getting into the ability to do transmediumship? How does one go beyond what one is already doing?
So you are basically asking, how did the medium get started? And how can you get started doing this sort of thing? Is that your
guess
question?
so. I guess so.
Well, it is a difficult question for me to answer because in the current circumstance, I do not think that there is a class for you to join that would help you to become a trance medium. Of course, it is always good for you to spend the time in meditation and practice meditation regularly, and that will help you. I don't know if you are still there.
I am still here, and
Yes,
so
all right.
meditation is something that I do on a regular basis. It's a
Good.
practice that I find very, very, very important, because like the meditation that you took us into this evening, having the opportunity to be in the space of oneness, the space of being without separation, and allowing the unfolding to occur is a beautiful thing to be in the presence of. And that was beautiful this evening, to be in the presence of God. And I thank you for that. So I guess my question is there anything else that needs to be done to facilitate, or is it just that it shows up when it shows up if you're called to be one? who can?
Well, I am not truly familiar with all the different ways various mediums have been able to allow themselves to be open to spirit. It is generally suggested on the physical plane, they suggest that you do not do this alone, that you should have someone who's with you to help you enter into the relaxed or meditative state that it is necessary to start out with, and then also to watch after yourself. I can give you some guidelines in the sense that, first of all, you should assure yourself that you are in a safe condition. In other words, make the white light prayer to surround yourself with the white light and to ensure your safety. Because there are spirits who are not always regarding your well-being. They have an agenda of their own, if I may say. So it is better to surround yourself with the white light of protection. And it is helpful then to, you see, when you are in a class or in a circle which is developed for this, there are others present and a facilitator who will help to guide you in what to do. But it is very difficult for me to answer. I would suggest you try to speak to the medium when she is not in trance, and you may be able to get more information or more help from herself, or she might be able to help you. I do not know, but you need to have a rapport with your spirit guides. It's helpful to have a rapport with your spirit guides and have someone such as Juana, who was the first voice, the very happy little girl voice that you heard. She is the gatekeeper. It is good to have a relationship with your joy guide, that you can entrust her or him to take care of you while you are in trance and to see to your well-being. Not everyone can be a trance medium who may wish to do so, because a medium, in order to do this, must be not well put together. I do not know how else to say it. They must be very loose in their own being, so that they can allow for the easy entry of spirit. That would mean perhaps that I do not know what it is called. I am sorry, but your
A lighter and less rigid sense of being is an important way.
yes, that is helpful. That you cannot be knit too tight. You have to be a little bit airy.
With a few slip stitches.
So that you can allow, and you cannot be a person who has very strong opinions, because these strong ideas will cause you to put barriers against anything that may come to you, or that it might come to you that you might not feel comfortable with, that go against a thought or a belief that you have. So you have to be a very flexible person in order to be able to do this.
It's a good way to be in life as well, without judgment, and just to live openly with an open heart, and to allow things to be and to unfold as they are without the expectation attached to it. It's a beautiful thing to see that occur and to be witness to it. And thank you for your time. I appreciate your attention as well. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
Yes, well, thank you for coming. I hope that you will come again in the future. But as I have said, try to speak to the medium when she is present, and then she can perhaps give you some better advice. For not all are successful, and it sometimes takes quite a bit of time to relax to the point of allowing someone to speak through you. You do not have to be a deep trance medium, but you must be able to at least go to a light trance area level. But speak to the medium when she is free.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Are there other questions? And I would wish to say to all present, you do not have to raise your hand. You can simply speak when there are no one else is speaking, especially if you have a question. So now is your chance.
Okay, no one's jumping in. Another question for you, Rankar. I'm hearing from a lot of the truther networks that this winter is going to be somewhat rough, financially
What
and
word
otherwise.
did you use after somewhat?
The truther networks, they're saying that with the global financial reset, there's going to be all this conundrum of changing monies over to the new system. And I don't think hyperinflation, but one woman's saying that silver is going to go through the roof, and another is saying you better stock up now. I know you've talked about this before, but please refresh my brain as to where we're going to be this winter and next spring into March, particularly as far as globally and supply chain wise. Thank you so much. And if we need to prepare in any way, thank you.
Supply chain wise, well, there are already shortages going on. And this can be seen by looking in your stores, your supermarkets, and seeing many spaces that are not filled and appearing to have emptiness. So that this is obvious that there are difficulties going on. The reasons for them are difficult to explain, but it is because when all the countries closed down, as they did, and the work stopped, it is like any time that something has to start up again, something as complex as an economy, and certainly a world economy, that it is hard to get everything moving again. And not all the resources and the things that you need are in the places that you need them to be. And they are complaining that there are not enough workers to fill the positions that are open, that are necessary to ship the goods, to transfer them across the country or the ocean to get them where someone else can use them to work on them. For many are compartmentalized. And a decision to go with a demand to the decision to change from warehousing stock and inventory to just-in-time shipping of orders and ordering goods. These now have, because there is nothing that can be done just in time, because everything is in disarray. So yes, there is probably going to be problems. We will not be going to, you will not be going to a uniform money system for quite some time. It is not possible to have this. You need to have a lot more peace and a lot more cooperation, and that is not going to happen in the current state of affairs. So that you do not have to concern yourself with. You have to stay with the money in your economy where it is most available to you and where you can use it, rather than worrying about where shall I put it if we go to this world economy, because, or this world monetary system. This will not happen anytime soon, in spite of what some people have said. So I think that I cannot give you advice on how to handle these situations. To be careful yourself for your own needs, to think of your own needs and the ways that you can help yourself. Should there be shortages of things that you want, then you try to buy the things necessary so that you can perhaps create them yourself. You must be willing and flexible to change many habits to make sure that you have what you need and what you want. But these things are all up to you to be adaptable to the situation. It is what always used to happen when there were not such wonderful supply chains, so that you were enabled to get fresh fruit all the time. No matter what the season was in your country or your area, there was always someplace else where that fruit was growing, which they could ship to you. So you are in the habit of having what you want, whenever you want it. Just be flexible and you will survive the situations. Do not be impatient with things as the way they are, but you will get through. Everyone will get through because you have no choice. Just the way it used to be before there was this type of world in which every country was busy creating wonderful things for everyone to have and spreading it all across the world to everyone else. These things are going to become more regional for a period of time. It just is going to be that way because you cannot ship as much as you used to. You simply do not have enough trucks, enough people, enough airplanes, enough of these things in working order and able to be used. So as they slowly get things going, it will all go back to what it once was. As people are now responding, that you have really reached herd immunity. It does not mean that no one will get sick, but it means that there will be a lot less difficulty and a lot less illness than there was in the middle of the epidemic. I hope that is enough to help you.
Thank you.
All right, our evening is drawing to an end, so it is time for me to say goodnight. Remember, Juana will be back to say goodnight for you, and I give you all my blessings. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, I'm back. Okay. It was nice to have you all here this evening, and we will be meeting again next Monday night. And so I hope to see you all then. And remember, I love you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. It was, I'm glad to see as many of you came in. So Monday night is a good night we will probably continue on a Monday night for a period of time. Maybe moving back to Tuesday for a little while, and Karen Slumber would like to use a Tuesday night for another class that she's going to be teaching in end of February and through, the end of January and February on the 7 healing chakras. So you'll be seeing that coming in and announcements as we are trying to put together the program for the next quarter. And if there's anybody wants to say to me now, just let me know. Speak up. Well,
I never know my schedule, so I caught you late, and I'm glad actually. I'm on vacation. Shocker! I finally took a vacation, a
wonderful.
staycation.
I was on vacation last week.
Oh, okay.
That's why
So-
we did not have a circle last week, because I was visiting my brother-in-law.
Oh, nice.
We were down in Hilton Head, which is lovely.
Ooh.
It was a little cold. We've been there before, and usually it's pretty warm, but not this time. It wasn't, the water wasn't too bad, but I didn't go in. And we sat on the beach one day, did what you always do at the ocean, walk along the shoreline and every day, and eat and talk and drink. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are the kind of people who like about 5, 6 o'clock at night to sit down with some wine and cheese before you have dinner. So we drank more than we're accustomed to, but that was fine. It's nice to be someplace different and do different things. So, okay, everybody, I'm going to close down the class. Thank you so much for coming. I'll see you next Monday. And this will last at least 6 weeks from Mondays. I'm closing it down now. Samaj, I know that I did something. Samaj, I'm going to be at the Institute this Sunday. So if you want to talk with me, you can seek me out afterwards, after church, or maybe just before church. So-
Afterward, I'm doing the coffee hour, so
Excuse me?
after church, I'll see you at hospitality. I'm doing the coffee hour.
Oh, okay, yes, I understand. And I'm on the board, so we're having a board meeting at church, and we're doing an ordination for Jennifer Gabriel. So
Oh,
I'm there
wonderful.
for that.
Yay, great.
So I'll be around. Sometimes I don't get down to hospitality till it's all over. But at any rate, do make sure you say hello to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night. Blessings
night.
and peace to everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.